What's good, YouTube? We back with another video. Before you get anything, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and the Discord link will be below. So last night we had the Tennessee-Georgia game. Georgia ended up winning 34-17 over Tennessee. Tennessee ended the game with one loss to Georgia's two losses. This was essentially an elimination game for Georgia. Had they had a loss today, cooked. For Tennessee with this loss, they have a 53% chance of making the college football playoffs. A win would have locked them in, assuming they would have won out on their schedule. For Georgia, like I mentioned before a couple days ago, they weren't going to have them lose to Ole Miss and Tennessee in back-to-back weeks. There's a lot of things that was going against Tennessee as well. Tennessee's biggest kryptonite is playing ranked teams on the road, especially at night. You can look at Josh Heupel's track record on road games. I think the only big wins on the road was Pittsburgh, when they was ranked back in 2022, and LSU in that noon game that same season where they beat the hell out of them. Other than that, Tennessee has struggled in primetime road games, whether it be Georgia this year, Arkansas this year, last year, Florida, Alabama, even though that wasn't primetime, it was 3:30. The year before that, South Carolina and Georgia. Tennessee played Georgia better than they have in the past couple of years, but it still wasn't enough. Offensively, they was able to actually do something in the first half, which has been Tennessee's biggest issue since the Kent State game, is scoring 0 points or maybe a field goal or so going into halftime and then putting together just enough offensively to win the game. They basically been riding on their defense and the running game with Dylan Sampson. This game, they were moving well offensively, especially the first quarter. Georgia started off slow in the first quarter. Second quarter, they scored 17 points to tie the game at halftime. That should have been the sign right there. This game is over if Georgia got it. They got all the momentum, and they look alive. Carson Beck was not making a whole lot of mistakes. He didn't have any picks. He didn't get sacked, making plays with his legs. That's a recipe to lose if you're playing Georgia. Second half, Tennessee didn't score shit. Georgia scored 14 points. And the offensive line for Georgia played well the whole night. Tennessee's secondary, they didn't play too hot either. Arian Carter, I don't know how many times he got cooked on deep passes too. They made Lovett look like an All-American out there, and this man got so many drops. Especially you go back to the one in the end zone where he rolled into the hedges, where he should have caught that, but he didn't. Point shape. That is what hurt Tennessee. Those deep passes or those intermediate passes. It was like Arian Carter be covering somebody, then he'll just stop covering them, and there'll be like 3 yards of separation magically. Georgia catches the ball, first down, they move the ball and move the chains, etc. As for Tennessee, their offensive line played terrible. Nico was running for his life, especially in that second half. There was a costly false start penalty on Lance Hurd when Tennessee was about to go for it on like 4th and 3. Penalty pushed them back. Might have been 4th and 6. Anyway, they was going to go for it on 4th down. Lance Hurd, false start. They move it back. Tennessee had to punt. And mind you, this was like a 9-minute drive for Tennessee. And they was in scoring position too. So they killed all that clock for no points. And that would have been something that Tennessee would have needed at that juncture in the game. Offensively, Tennessee should have ran the ball more with Dylan Sampson and Peyton Lewis. Because they were definitely more effective doing that because passing wasn't really working. I heard Kirk Herbstreit mention that Nico didn't have one pass completion over 20 yards in the game. Because most of the play calling is bubble screens, an in route here and there, a slant here and there, or a deep shot. But the passing game hasn't really been clicking a whole lot in the SEC play this year. Running sure as hell has been the saving grace for Tennessee, and they ran away from that, pun intended. But again, yeah, Tennessee, good team, just not over that hump yet to beat Georgia. They managed to beat Bama a couple years now, but Georgia is the final boss, if you will. That's the one that Tennessee has to get over that hump. If they ever want to have SEC championship hopes, national championship hopes, all that. And on top of that, they got to win them road games tonight. Because Georgia hasn't lost in, 40-something odd games at home. And having to play them off of a loss, that's not good. That's not good at all. I'd say my biggest gripe with Georgia, or something that really raised my eyebrow, was there was a play Carson Beck should have got called for false start. Yes, I know, the quarterback. Well, first off, your feet are supposed to be set whenever they snap the ball. But he started dropping back before they snapped the ball, like slightly before they snapped the ball. And on that possession, Georgia ended up scoring. That very easily could have been a penalty, changed the whole situation for that drive for Georgia. There was a play for Tennessee's defense. They were subbing out, and one of the D linemen was taking his sweet-ass time getting off the field. Like, it looked like he was trotting. He wasn't even jogging. And then he finally decided to jog. Georgia saw this, took a deep shot, and as a result, Georgia benefited off of this careless-ass penalty. I'll say this, if Georgia plays the way that they did last night, if Carson Beck plays the way he did last night, making plays with his legs and arms and doesn't turn the ball over, Georgia's going to be a problem. Tennessee, they are a one-half offensive team. Like I mentioned before, if they do make it to the playoffs, going on the road in a hostile environment in prime time, it's not very beneficial to them. Especially if you play a team that can score some points quickly, that's going to be a problem because Tennessee's offense has been struggling. So for Tennessee, they got Vanderbilt and UTEP left on their schedule, not in that order. Tennessee has to win that game against Vanderbilt if they even want to have the idea of sniffing the playoffs. A loss to Vandy, oh, you cook. As for Georgia, like I mentioned before, they should be straight. We'll see how the rest of the SEC shapes up. Other than that, man, fuck Georgia. Go Vols, even though we lost. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Thank you for watching. We are out.